people think that this is a story about Ben and I and kind of this fairy tale, and it's not. It's not. It's really about the story of kind of like a hopeless romantic and her journey through life and the search for love and what it's all about. And I think a lot of us are that girl. I was like, that is me.
Jennifer Lopez didn't whisper it in a magazine profile or leak it through a source close to the singer. She said it in the loudest place possible, on stage, under the lights, with the world already filming. A fan wanted the fairy tale and asked for her hand. Jennifer didn't blink. She unleashed a line that sounded like a door slamming on 25 years of public romance. "I think I'm done with that. I've tried that a few times." It was flippant, it was funny, and it was a eulogy for the brand she built on rings, veils, and vows. Count the wreckage. 4 marriages, Ajani Noah, Chris Judd, Marc Anthony, Ben Affleck, each one starting with a promise and ending with a press cycle. 6 engagements, including twice to Affleck and one to Alex Rodriguez. Each ring bigger than the last, each story brighter than the sun, each aftermath darker than people remember. She didn't just love, she launched cinematic universes. And when they collapsed, the shrapnel hit everyone, exes, kids, fans, and most of all, the woman who had to repackage heartbreak into the next era. So why cut marriage out of her life like a bad scene on the editing floor? Because marriage, for Jennifer Lopez, became a trap disguised as a comeback. Each vow was marketed as growth, each husband framed as the one, and each split explained as destiny changing its mind. It was always glossy until it wasn't. It was always perfect until the paparazzi caught the crack in the smile. She was the modern bride archetype, high glam, high risk, high stakes, living in a world where love is content, privacy is currency, and a ceremony is just Act 1. But something shifted. The last ending didn't simply sting, it shattered. The reunion that was supposed to redeem 2004 unraveled in 2024 to 2025. And it felt like the universe mocking her for believing in rewinds. When she said she's done, she wasn't speaking to the fans so much as she was interrogating every previous version of herself. The wide-eyed romantic, the comeback queen, the woman who kept auditioning for forever and getting cast as maybe. And here is the twist that makes people furious. By rejecting marriage, Jennifer is also rejecting the audience's favorite storyline. She's telling a culture addicted to bride photos that the headline is dead. No gown, no aisle, no ring reveal. She's not breaking up with a man, she's breaking up with the myth. She is, quite literally, marrying herself. Not a ceremony, not a stunt, depending on who you ask, but a strategic refusal to let wife remain her most clickable role. Does it sound empowering? Absolutely. Does it sound calculated? Of course. Jennifer Lopez has always been both, heart and headline. The vow to herself is the first promise in years that isn't monetized by a joint brand, a shared home, a couple name. If you think she's done playing the game, think again. She's just rewritten it so she can't lose. The bride died on that stage. The boss walked out.
And he said, "It's a green diamond. My favorite color. It's also my lucky color. Obviously, it'll be my lucky color forever now."
The last romance wasn't merely a breakup, it was the apocalypse of a fairy tale sold in 4K. The world waited 2 decades for the reunion, got the wedding, got the photos, got the legend, then watched it all burn down to legal language and separate driveways. When the divorce paperwork hit in January 2025, the timeline didn't read like tragedy. It read like inevitability. 2 titans, 2 incompatible planets colliding again. Not because they didn't love, but because the story demanded a happy ending they could not maintain in daylight. Humiliation has gravity. It drags your name through a million comment sections and makes strangers think they're experts on your soul. The internet turned her pattern into a punchline. She'll be engaged again by spring. She heard it. She's always heard it. Jennifer Lopez learned long ago that indignity can be weaponized if you keep your hands steady and your voice sweet. So she did what she does best. She pivoted. No more chasing a perfect man to fix a public wound. She would be her own cure, her own groom, her own headline. That's the rebrand. Not faux humility, not hiding, not some disappearing act into private life. No, she went louder. She declared a ceasefire with the altar and called it liberation. To fans who adore her, this is the victory lap of a woman who finally refuses to bleed for a role. To critics who mock her, it's theatre, a genius at spectacle, transmuting shame into a slogan and heartache into a hook. Both can be true. That's why she's Jennifer Lopez and not a footnote in somebody else's memoir. Her skeptics insist it's temporary. They say she'll fall again, as if love were a cliff she can't stop leaping from. Maybe. But this is where the calculus changed. Every ex came with an ecosystem, shared properties, intertwined calendars, joint appearances, conflicting appetites for fame. Each time the system collapsed, she had to excavate herself from debris that didn't belong just to her. The self-marriage era annihilates that problem. You cannot divorce yourself. You can't be outgrown by your reflection. You can't scroll away from your own signature. Some will call it narcissism. Some will call it maturity. She will call it peace. And peace for Jennifer Lopez is as radical and controversial as any diamond ring. If you live for the real story behind the glossy posts, you're in the right place. This is Ms.CathyKnows, the channel where we break the spell and show the strings. Tap like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe if you want the chapter celebs pray you never read. Because J.Lo's vow to herself. It's only the beginning. Now comes the part that makes Hollywood sweat, the admission, whether she says it plainly or only implies it, that the old fairy tale was bad business. Not financially. She's weathered every storm, bad as a strategy. Marriage kept placing her legacy in rooms she couldn't control, court filings, real estate logistics, conflicting teams, competing narratives. The self-wife era takes the most volatile variable, someone else's needs, and removes it from the equation. It's ruthless, it's efficient, it's the quietest kind of thunder, but every revolution charges a fee. She is daring the public to root for a love story with no counterparty. Can an audience addicted to drama accept a heroine who refuses the third act wedding? Or does the absence of a groom become the new scandal they pick apart? She can't keep a man. She's addicted to attention. This is a stunt. They will say all of it, and she knows it. The beauty and the trap of choosing yourself is that you become both the question and the answer. There's no one else to blame and no one else to save you. Jennifer Lopez's strength has always been control of the stage, the camera, the reinvention. But love never obeyed. It was the one plot she couldn't direct. By burying I Do, she's choosing a plot that finally listens. You can call it lonely, she'll call it clarity. You can call it sad, she'll call it sane. The controversy will stay loud because nothing enrages a culture of spectators more than a woman who takes the ball and goes home with it and still wins the game. Understand, this isn't an anti-love manifesto, it's an anti-permission manifesto. No more auditioning for forever, no more staking her value on whether another celebrity's rhythms sync with hers. She can fall in love again, she might, but she doesn't need the contract to validate the chemistry or the headline to validate her worth. That's the point, that's the scandal. The empire is no longer co-owned. Will she ever change her mind? You'll keep asking, she'll keep singing. That tension between what you want her to do and what she refuses to do is the engine that will drive the next era. Albums about autonomy, performances about reinvention, public appearances that say, without saying, the ring is retired, the woman is not. In a world that measures women by the partners they keep, Jennifer Lopez has selected the only partner who can't leave her. herself. If that sounds like narcissism, listen closer. It's triage. After a lifetime of bleeding for spectacle, she has cauterized the wound. No aisle, no bouquet, no kiss to seal it. Just a signature on an invisible line that reads, "I choose me." And in this town, that's the most scandalous vow of all, because it threatens the entire machine that sells the lie that a woman is complete only when someone else says, "I do." So here lies the old story, the twinkle of the diamond, the choreography of the vows, the breathless caption. And here rises the new one, a woman who doesn't need the ring to be real or the wedding to be worthy. Love her or loathe her, that is the Lopez you'll be dealing with now, unmarried, unbothered, and unmistakably in charge.